Hi, I'm Christine Sorensen with this week's Kidcast to help all our kids discover their superpowers. Among teenagers, smoking e-cigarettes or vaping is a hot trend, but there's a lot of misinformation and confusion about what e-cigarettes are and what they do to our body. We're talking with an expert in just a moment, but first, according to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, e-cigarettes are now the most commonly used form of tobacco among young people. They're so popular because they're easy to get, kids like the flavors, and people think they're safer. Plus, 7 out of 10 teenagers have been exposed to e-cigarette ads. Boys are twice as likely to start smoking e-cigarettes over girls, and 66% of teenaged e-cigarette users say they smoke for the flavoring. I went to an expert for more on what vaping really is. We're joined by Dr. Brian Primack, Dean of the Honors College here at the University of Pittsburgh, and you conduct research on e-cigarettes. So tell me, is vaping, is that the same thing as an e-cigarette?
Yes, they do mean the same thing in today's parlance, but it's interesting because vape is actually sort of a misnomer. What comes out of an e-cigarette is actually chemically what's called an aerosol, which has a suspension of large particles, including carcinogens, nicotine, things like that. But the companies didn't like calling it an aerosol because it sounds like you're inhaling Lysol, so they decided to call it vape. This leads to the idea of some young people saying, oh, it's just water vapor, Mom.
So what's in an e-cigarette, and is it just as bad as smoking a real cigarette?
So it's a very good question. So one thing that is definitely in e-cigarettes is nicotine. There are some brands that advertise 0% nicotine, but even those, when you test them, do have some nicotine in them. They also, the aerosol that you inhale has lots of other chemicals, and pretty much all of the chemicals that we've been concerned about with regard to cigarettes. So that includes carcinogens, carbon monoxide, tar, that type of thing. Now, there are generally fewer of these. So an e-cigarette, you might get per puff maybe 1/10 of the formaldehyde, but you still do get some formaldehyde. And then, just to complicate things a little bit more, there are studies where you get just as much formaldehyde. So why the variation? Because there's no regulation.
All right, I've heard of something called juuling. What is juuling?
So Juul is a brand of e-cigarette, and right now it has the most market share. It's very, very popular, especially among young people, because it's very brightly colored. It comes in a variety of flavors like mango and cotton candy, and it looks very cool and technological. It looks like a small USB drive. So it's very easy for young people to hide this from parents, from teachers, etc.
For more on vaping and many more topics to help your kids be the best they can be, go to KDKA.com/Kidsburgh and be sure to sign up for the weekly e-blast so you're always in the know.